everyone. Virgo, money doesn't fall from the sky. I know that's not what you wanted to hear. I know you clicked hoping I'd tell you that abundance is headed your way, that the universe is about to deliver, that your financial struggles are about to end through some unexpected miracle. But feeding you that fantasy would be doing you a disservice. Because while you're waiting for miracles, you're not building systems. While you're hoping for windfalls, you're not developing skills. While you're investing emotional energy in manifestation, you're not taking concrete action that actually changes financial trajectories. And I care more about your actual well-being than about telling you what feels good in the moment. So let's talk about what's real. What are you actually doing to improve your financial situation? Answer honestly, not aspirationally. Because here's what might be true. And notice I said might, not will. You could be approaching a point where effort you've been putting in starts producing visible return, where work you've been doing without seeing immediate payoff begins to translate into income, where positioning you've been doing starts creating opportunities that weren't available before, not because the universe decided to reward you, not because you manifested perfectly, not because some cosmic lottery picked your number, but because that's how compounding works. That's how skill development pays off. That's how consistent effort eventually produces results. If you've been building something, a skill, a business, a reputation, a body of work, there's potential for that building to start generating income in ways it hasn't yet. If you've been networking, connecting, showing up in communities or spaces where opportunity circulates, there's potential for one of those connections to produce something financially valuable. If you've been applying, auditioning, pitching, putting yourself out there repeatedly despite rejection, there's potential for one of those attempts to finally land. But all of that requires you having been doing the work, having been taking action, having been creating conditions where financial improvement becomes possible. Have you been doing that? Or have you been passively hoping while taking minimal action? Be brutally honest. Because let me tell you what unexpected miracle actually means in practical terms. It means you weren't tracking all the variables. It means something you set in motion weeks or months ago produces result you'd stopped thinking about. It means an opportunity emerges from a connection you made casually without recognizing its potential. It feels unexpected because you can't see all the pieces moving, because you don't have visibility into every process that's unfolding, because timing is unpredictable even when probability is high, but it's not miraculous in the sense of being unearned or randomly delivered. It's consequence of actions you took, meeting circumstances you couldn't control. The person who gets the unexpected job offer, they applied months ago and forgot about it. The person who gets the miracle client, they've been showing up consistently in spaces where that client could find them. The person who receives sudden money, they filed for a refund, or someone remembered a debt, or a project they completed is finally paying out. These things feel like miracles because the gap between cause and effect is wide enough that you lose sight of the connection. But the connection exists. Action produced outcome, just not immediately enough for you to see the direct line. Does that reframe shift how you think about unexpected money? Let me know if this lands differently then the universe is sending abundance. Because I want to address the biggest win of your life, framing. That language is designed to create maximum excitement, maximum hope, maximum emotional investment in the content. But it's also completely subjective and therefore meaningless as prediction. What constitutes your biggest win? Financial, professional, personal, relational, health related, and biggest compared to what? Your current baseline, your past experiences, your future potential. See how vague that is? See how it could mean literally anything, which means it can't be verified as true or false? That's intentional. Vague predictions can always be retrofitted to match whatever happens. So instead of waiting for some undefined biggest win, how about you define what would actually constitute meaningful improvement in your life? What specific outcome would feel like a genuine win for you? Get concrete in the comments. Because here's what I'm actually sensing in the energy around finances for many people right now. There's potential for shift, for movement, for things that have been stuck starting to flow, for opportunities that have been theoretical becoming actual. And this is crucial, that potential exists alongside the requirement for you to recognize and act on opportunities when they appear. Because sometimes the miracle shows up as an opening, a chance, a possibility. And if you're so focused on waiting for the dramatic windfall that you miss the subtle opportunity, if you're so fixated on money appearing magically that you don't notice the door opening that requires you to walk through it, then you miss it. The potential was there, the possibility was real, but you weren't present enough or discerning enough or action oriented enough to receive it. So if financial improvement is building, if there's genuine potential for money to increase in your life, your job is to stay aware, to notice opportunities, to be willing to act when something presents itself, even if it's not packaged the way you expected. Can you stay that alert, or are you too busy consuming prediction content to notice actual reality? Think about where your attention actually goes. Because I also need to talk about what happens when you invest emotionally in predictions like this. You create attachment. You start organizing your life around the expectation that something big is coming. You might make decisions assuming money you don't have yet will arrive. You might delay addressing current financial reality because you're banking on future miracle, and that's dangerous. That's how people end up in worse financial situations than they started in. Because if the predicted abundance doesn't materialize, or doesn't materialize in the timeline or amount you were hoping for, you've made choices based on fantasy rather than reality. So please don't let hope for unexpected money become an excuse to avoid dealing with actual financial situation. Don't stop applying for jobs because you think a windfall is coming. Don't avoid budget conversations because you're expecting a miracle. Don't make purchases you can't afford because a reading told you money was on the way. Hope is fine. Attachment to specific outcomes that haven't materialized yet is not. Are you making practical decisions or decisions based on predictions? Be honest about which is true. Because here's something else worth examining. Why are you looking for this message? What's happening in your financial reality that makes the promise of unexpected money so appealing? Are you in genuine crisis? Are you facing real hardship? Are you struggling to meet basic needs? If yes, then readings promising abundance aren't what you need. What you need is concrete support, community resources, assistance programs, actual, tangible help navigating difficulty. Or are you in stable but wanting more territory, where you're okay but frustrated that financial growth isn't happening faster, where you're comparing yourself to others and feeling behind? If that's the case, then the work isn't manifestation. The work is addressing whatever's actually blocking financial growth, whether that's skill gaps, marketing deficiencies, pricing issues, limiting beliefs about money, or simply not having been at it long enough for compounding to show results. Which version describes your situation more accurately? Get real about what you're actually dealing with, because I want to talk about what genuine financial improvement actually requires. Not miracles, not luck, not cosmic intervention, value creation. You have to provide something people are willing to pay for. You have to solve problems, meet needs, offer services or products that create value in others' lives. If you're not doing that, if you're just hoping money appears without providing value in exchange, you're waiting for something that won't come. Strategic action. You have to position yourself where opportunity exists. You have to network, market, apply, pitch, show up in spaces where people with resources can find you. Money doesn't come to people who are invisible. It comes to people who are discoverable, who make their value known, who put themselves in circulation, skill development. You have to be good enough at something that people choose you over other options. You have to develop competence that justifies compensation. If your skills aren't market ready, if you're not actually providing value at a level people will pay for, then hoping for big wins is premature. The work is skill building first, monetization second, consistency. You have to keep showing up even when results aren't immediate. You have to keep building even when progress feels slow. You have to maintain effort over time long enough for compounding to work. Most people quit too early. They expect immediate return on effort. And when it doesn't come quickly, they abandon what they were building right before it would have started producing. Which of these are you actually doing? Which are you neglecting? Take inventory and share. Because here's what I really want you to hear. Financial improvement is possible. Unexpected money can flow. Opportunities that feel like wins absolutely exist and can show up in your life, but not through passive hoping, not through consuming prediction content, not through waiting for the universe to deliver while you do nothing, through work, through value creation, through strategic positioning, through skill development, through consistency that outlasts your impatience. That's what actually changes financial situations. That's what actually creates conditions where money can increase. So if you want a miracle, if you want unexpected abundance, if you want the biggest win of your life, stop looking for predictions and start creating conditions. What's one concrete action you could take this week that moves you toward financial improvement? Not manifestation practice, not vision boarding, not affirmations, actual action, applying for something, reaching out to someone, marketing your services, developing a skill, pitching a client, creating something of value. What's the one thing you could do? Write it down, then commit to actually doing it. Because that action, that concrete, practical, unsexy action that's worth more than 100 readings promising abundance. That's what actually creates the conditions where unexpected money becomes possible. Not guaranteed, not promised, but possible in a real way rather than a fantasy way, and possible that you can act on, that's worth infinitely more than certain, that requires no effort. So go do the thing. Stop consuming predictions and start creating conditions. That's how miracles actually happen. Through you, not to you. Now move.